This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Thursday, the 7th day of February in the year 2019. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Supporters of the APNU-AFC coalition joined some government ministers today in a protest to press the Guyana Elections Commission to ensure there is registration before the next national elections. Police barriers were once again thrown up close to the Guyana Elections Commission to keep the protesters away, but the protest went on with many of those gathered indicating that the Guyana Elections Commission needs to have house-to-house registration before moving ahead with the elections. General Secretary of the People's National Congress, Health Minister Valda Lawrence, said the concerns of young people cannot be dismissed. She said there must be registration and claims and objections before the elections are called.
I'm concerned that this will be a breach of their constitutional right. Our constitution dictates that person, once they attain the age of voting, must be given that opportunity to vote. We all know that the list comes to an end at the end of April. And those young people must be given their opportunity. GCOM should have been in a registration period already. There has been a lot of delay in them starting that, and we're calling them to get their act together and start the house-to-house registration.
The People's National Congress is the largest party in the coalition. According to Minister Lawrence, there are a number of youths who are of the voting age but have not yet been registered, and they should be allowed to be properly registered to cast their vote. Another government minister and PNC member, Simona Brooms, said she has been in several communities over the past months working with young people on various community projects. She said a number of them are not registered, and the Elections Commission should ensure they are not disenfranchised.
A lot of young people, they don't have an ID card, and they say, Minister, we have to vote, we got to get on that list. Today I came here with about 200 persons, and you've seen it for yourself. We didn't bring anybody by bus, we walked. And out of that set, we got 30 on the list with no ID card. So the youth must vote. I want to send a strong message to the young people. We will not sit as a government and see your constitutional rights. When I say constitutional rights, not being respected. Everybody have a right, and I'm here. I'm representing all Guyanese, but more so the youths and the women. Their vote got to be counted. They got to get onto that list. We must check the list. We must have house-to-house registration. No registration, no election.
Alliance for Change Chairman and Public Security Minister Kemraj Ramjatan said he believes there is a need for house-to-house registration before the next elections.
I would prefer to have a house-to-house registration. It is, of course, the decision of GCOM to ensure that everybody who is supposed to be enfranchised, be enfranchised. And since we set aside $3 billion for that money, for house-to-house, we should have it.
PNC Treasurer and Communities Minister Ronald Bulkan said he is convinced that the current list is bloated. He said there is a need for sanitation of the voters list.
Our position is that we cannot have an acceptable list for the conduct and the holding of general and regional elections in the absence of house-to-house registration.
Questioned about the same list being used for the recent local government elections, Bulkan reminded that the local government elections dealt with several elections in different areas.
Local government elections and general elections are two different animals.
But it's the same list?
No. The lists that are used for local government elections are individual lists for each of the local democratic organs. What we're heading towards is a general election to determine who will be the next president of Guyana.
Other members of the coalition said they just want to ensure that persons are not disenfranchised for the elections.
We believe, and this is information coming from GCOM itself, that list needs to be sanitized. And the only way we could sanitize that is by house-to-house registration. And I do not want, at any moment, to disenfranchise any Guyanese when we have the means and the resources to empower them.
Under Jack, there was no time an election was held in such a short period. They would have always told you that they had to prepare. Secondly, it would be foolhardy to go to an election with a list that you know is fully padded. The third point I want to make is that there are a lot of young people who have got to be registered. And I can't see you going to election without them being registered.
The Guyana Elections Commission is still to pronounce on a timeline for regional and national elections. However, the Commission Secretariat is looking at the date in July as part of one scenario for possible early elections. More news coming up in just a moment.
Hello, baby. Yeah.
It's knocked away from Yang Huang.
Yo, why you gotta get away from the credit, buddy? I recommend that you from blah blah. Let you actually gain, but it's not you that buy back the credit when it's done. Buy back because she money from five.
Activate the GTT Fab 5 plan today. For only $5,005, you get free unlimited calls to 4 of your closest family and friends, 5 gigs of data plus 250 text messages, and your Fab 5 friends can call you for free. GTT Fab 5.
Wait. So who we putting as we Fab 5?
Yours.
As a luxury mechanic, I'm often asked, what gas should I use in my expensive vehicle? In other countries, you have regular and mid-grade gasoline known as 87, 89, and premium gasoline known as octane 93 to 95. For affordable, high-quality fuel, performance and high mileage, visit Guy Oil today. Choose Guy Oil Super 95. Guy Oil, we are everywhere.
This match day, February 23rd, Hits and Jams Entertainment brings you an event like no other. Sunrise Brunch Party, the first of its kind in Guyana. The day starts off with a delicious brunch served from 10 a.m., followed by the day party with the best lineup of DJs. Shizzle, Diamond, Sia, Ryan, and Energy at the Everest Cricket Ground. Sunrise Brunch Edition, brought to you by Hits and Jams Entertainment. Stay tuned for more details.
Welcome back. Well, hours after the University of Guyana announced this morning that it will keep its Turkine campus closed for the rest of the week following 2 days of bomb threats, the Guyana Police Force issued a statement making it clear that from its investigations, there is no significant threat. On Wednesday and Thursday, the police force dispatched its bomb squad and investigators to the Turkine campus after the administrators received several threats that a bomb had been planted on the campus. All of the searchers turned up empty-handed. Today, the police force said that based on its own investigations, the threats are being made by either the students or by persons who are working along with the students. The police force said the actions appear to be mischievous and geared towards disrupting the existing peace and calm in society, and specifically in the education sectors. The police force said it continues to investigate the threats, and an arrest could be coming soon. The police force is urging the suspected perpetrators of the threats to desist from disrupting the school sector and by extension the calm in the society. Let's tell you now that recently appointed Senior Vice President for Strategy and Corporate Affairs at Guyana Goldfields, Perry Holloway, is reassuring Guyana that the Canadian company is doing well and will continue to expand its operations in Guyana as it seeks to further develop its gold mining operations. Guyana Goldfields is a Canadian company. It currently has the largest gold mining operation in this country. Recently, the company announced major changes to its management structure. The country manager's position became redundant. One of its 2 offices was closed, and Holloway, who's a former U.S. ambassador, became one of the company's senior officials. All of that took place while there were also major changes by the company's board to the top position of Chief Executive Officer. In an interview on the Jumpstart Morning Show on the radio this morning, the new Senior Vice President, Perry Holloway, explained that the company has been going through a reorganization.
And we've been going through a reorganization, a restructuring, and that included combining our 2 offices in Guyana, and our longtime country manager, Ms. Smith, has left the company now. So that is just part of our restructuring and reorganization. It is not an indication that the company is in any way suffering. In fact, we're continuing to produce gold at basically the same pace as last year. You know, some months and quarters are better than others, but the amount of rock that we are crushing and processing is in fact on the increase.
Mr. Holloway noted that with recent hires and promotions, the staff complement at Guyana Goldfields is now up to 96% Guyanese. He said that is part of the local content makeup that cannot be denied.
No, right now we're still committed to underground. We are pending a construction permit from the EPA. You may have remembered a few months back, there was at least a misunderstanding on our part because we did think we had permission to begin to at least open the portal to begin to prepare for underground. But apparently we did not. We apologize to the EPA for misunderstanding, thought we have it. We've now turned in all of the paperwork. We've provided them with all the information that they need. And our hope is certainly in the coming days or weeks that we will get the green light so we can proceed with underground mining, because underground mining will be an increase in what we're doing. It could potentially lead to more jobs and more gold, for which we pay a royalty. Currently we pay 8% royalty on all the gold pulled out of the ground. That's a very high royalty by industry standards.
The company's efforts to begin its underground operations were recently halted as the Environmental Protection Agency was still reviewing its application. The company is hoping to move forward with that application.
Yeah, we have no plans of reducing or anything like that. In fact, if we begin to go underground, that could lead to more jobs. And again, our commitment is to greater local content, greater local employees. So our trend has been increasing the number of Guyanese. Though at 96%, we're getting near the top. So no, there's no worry. I just visited the mine recently. It's pretty impressive to see 750 people. We work 24 hours a day. We have to, one of the most impressive things to me was we have to provide 3 meals a day to 750 people, and it's out in Region 7, but it's really off the grid, and so we have to provide our own electricity, our own water. Things have to come in by truck, boat, and then truck. So it logistically is quite an achievement.
The former U.S. ambassador said that as part of his job, he intends to interface more with the government and other agencies that relate to the company's operations. He said Guyana Goldfields also intends to continue to look at the development of the Region 7 area, where it is located in the Essequibo. Stay tuned for regional and international news.
Nobody on the post there. Going to do costly. Yes, it is. But I'm not just get a header. Oh, no, that's some save, isn't it?
Let's Bet Sports. Take your game to a whole new level. You decide. Your game, your bet type, your bet amount. Guyana Lottery Companies, Let's Bet Sports. Be part of the game.
Get ready to ride it, ride it. Ready to ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride it, ride the wave. Open up the new vibe, drink up the boldness inside. Radical and fresh and wild, catch the wave now. Ride bold, ride fresh, ride strong, come on, ride the wave. Taste the action, satisfaction, perfection. Wave, 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 wave,
Ride the new wave of excitement sweeping Guyana. Wave Pale Ale, a premium, full-bodied, strong, and refreshing alcoholic brew, crafted to perfection for a bold, young, radical you. Don't settle for anything less. Catch a Wave Pale Ale and ride it today.
Wave Pale Ale.
Crafted to perfection.
Across the region right now, we turn to Trinidad and Tobago, where the police commissioner there, Gary Griffith, has confirmed a newspaper report that a special branch had uncovered a plot by 2 criminal gangs to assassinate him and members of his family. The Trinidadian police commissioner said those plotting his death must be upset at the fact that over $100 million in illegal drugs and weapons have been seized, and hundreds of persons have been arrested in connection with those busts. The Trinidadian Guardian newspaper, in a front-page story on Wednesday, said the special branch had uncovered the plot in November last year, and in an 11-page report it detailed how serious the threat had to be taken. The newspaper said it had obtained a copy of the report, and when it had contacted Griffith, he was at first hesitant to comment before agreeing to address some of the troubling concerns raised in the report. On a radio program, Mr. Griffith said the fact that persons were now out to kill him and members of his family meant that he was stepping in the right direction to deal with crime in Trinidad and Tobago. In Martinique now, authorities there are on high alert after several persons were reported to have fallen ill to the mosquito-borne disease dengue fever. According to health officials on the island, the authorities confirmed that on Wednesday, several proven cases of dengue fever appeared in Martinique. One of the entomologists on the island and the director of the Center of Mosquito Control said without wanting to stigmatize, he could confirm that several outbreaks were detected in communities in the southeast of the island. A media house in the island has reported that several isolated cases of dengue fever were first reported in 2016 and 2018. The last dengue epidemic in Martinique occurred in 2013, when 9,500 cases were found. And finally tonight, international news. A diplomatic row between France and Italy has deepened, with France complaining of unfounded attacks and outlandish claims by Italian leaders. France recalled its ambassador to Italy for talks today, saying that the situation was unprecedented since the end of World War II. It comes after the Italian Deputy Prime Minister met French protesters near Paris on Tuesday. France warned him not to interfere in the country's politics. Relations between the two countries, both founding members of the EU, have been tense since Italy's populist Five Star Movement and right-wing League Party formed the coalition government in 2018. The two governments have clashed over a range of issues, including migration. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.